sure we've all been scrolling through our For You pages on TikTok or having to stumble on a TikTok live debate and being intrigued by the contents. But out of nowhere, there seems to be a shift in the content, and then you hear, trans women are just men in dresses, or trans people are unnatural and against God. People are still so misinformed on the science of being trans and how people actually feel. So let me explain how bad these arguments are. Argument 1. Trans people are unnatural and against God. I want to preference this by saying I have no intention on offending or making fun of religions. I'm only here to explain how this argument has no logic backing it. Now, let's look at the first part. Trans people are unnatural. Being trans is and has been found to be in nature in the form of, drumroll please, clownfish. Weird, right? The way clownfish travel in their schools makes the top of the ranks being the few females of the group. Then there is the men. And finally, there are a few lower ranking non-breeding ranks that aren't really needed in this discussion. The tech.org states, all clownfish are born male. A clownfish group consists of a dominant male and female and 0 to 4 juvenile males. So where did the females come from this group? When the female dies, the dominant male changes sex to become the dominant female, and one of the juveniles becomes the dominant male. This means every female clownfish is trans, meaning it's a nature. Now on to the second part of this argument. Trans people are unnatural and against God. Well, that would be untrue. The people who say this, 1, haven't read the Bible, and 2, don't realize religion is a choice while being trans isn't. HRC.org states, the existence of transgender people may seem to fly in the face of God's created order. However, when we look just a little closer at each of these passages, we find a much more complex and beautiful world. For instance, when God creates men and women in Genesis 1, it's after creating opposites in every other corner of creation, day and night, land and sea, flying birds and swimming fish. Humans then are also created in an opposite pair, male and female. But the problem with a literal reading of this text, that even though Genesis 1 sets up these binaries, God's creations exist in spectrums. Also, I would think it would be a little bit hypocritical for Jesus, the man who commits no sin, would be trans if being trans is a sin. You heard me right. Scientifically, Mary, the virgin mother of Jesus, reproduced and gave birth asexually, meaning that Jesus was assigned female at birth with a carbon copy of Mary's DNA. Now, time for the next argument. Argument 2. Trans women are just men in dresses. This argument is so dumb. To start off, it paints the picture that pieces of fabric have genders, which is ridiculous. But also, trans women psychologically are women. There's many videos with sources to back it up about science and being trans. One I recommend, which I'll put in the description, is the Powered by Rainbows video on the science of being trans. But enough of that, and let's get back to the argument. Trans women are women, whether you like it or not. You have to realize that most people, if not all people who are transphobic, are so misinformed that they refuse to do proper research. Also, I want to say this. Men can wear dresses, skirts, and makeup, and that doesn't make them trans. Now, let's get on to the final argument. Just because you have gender reassignment surgery doesn't make you a man or a woman. Oh, what's this? A logical argument TERFs use against trans women. That's right, this argument is 100% correct. But it only helps the trans people and not the transphobic people. It's not the body parts nor what's in your pants that make you a certain gender. It's the brain structure of trans people that make them trans. But because this rebuttal is so short, I'll do one more argument. You're too young to know. This argument is so hypocritical. Because how come if a child feels like they're cisgender at the age of 5, it's fine. But if your child thinks they're trans at the age of 5, it's so incomprehensible. The video I talked about in argument 2 also applies here, so please just go watch it. I can't tell you how much it'll teach you about the science of being trans, and it'll honestly just help me out with this because this took a while to research. But let's get to the conclusion. A lot of these arguments lack a good base, are easily able to be disproven, or don't help their cases at all. If there's any more arguments you want me to cover, I'll be happy to do so. Thank you for watching, and I hope you end up subscribing. Bye! This is meaning that what I just said, oh my god, this is not going well. Argument 1. Trans people are just... More bloopers! Yay! Trans people are unnatural and against God. I'm gonna preference this point by saying I have no intention of well, now I have some bloopers.